time for most people. These disappearances, forced disappearances, the killings you heard about, the 18 bullets that were pumped into one person to make sure that he could be silenced. But they don't fade for everybody. For the families, as you heard today, despite the curtain of the barrier of language, you understood the anguish of the families that have suffered loss under this government. And those that have not been able to achieve justice. My own father was killed, assassinated in 2005 in a grenade attack. And it has been 17 years, 14 of which about 13 years have been under this government, and we have failed to get a proper investigation into his killing for reasons that some people have not understood yet, but most people have figured out. The rule of law has disappeared in this country under a criminal regime that has stayed in power through a rigged election and the force of the police and other agencies. It is like a flesh-eating dragon on the body of Bangladesh. It is a dragon which has got toothache now because of the sanctions, but that's all. It's just toothache. The real body of the dragon has not been attacked, and their crimes continue and will continue, and we will fail to get justice until we deal with this dragon effectively. The overseas community of Bangladeshis and our Western friends, the donors, community who believe in human rights, the rule of law and democratic freedoms, I fear that there is a certain atrocity fatigue among them. They hear of these terrible events that have occurred under this government, but we don't see the type of action that we would hope from our friends. It may just be fatigue. They're tired of hearing these complaints, even from little children, as we saw today. They've heard them before, they're hearing them all over the world. Maybe Bangladesh isn't such a priority. I've even heard the phrase that now that this government has been softened by the sanctions, we should engage in, we should have a constructive engagement with them. So I pointed out that constructive engagement with killers, kidnappers, and torturers is not a good idea. It wasn't a good idea in 1939 when the policy of appeasement was taken up by the British government. It is not a good idea now. The rule of law must be re-established in this country, and it can never happen as long as this Sheikh Hasina Wazir and her brutal criminal government remain in power. It is not possible. The crimes they have committed, they wish to hang on to power because the crimes they have committed are so terrible that they do not want to be held to account. They cannot be held to account because so many of them will go to the gallows for their crimes. That's the problem. When someone runs a government, in a democratic system, the idea should be that there's a chance of getting voted out of office and not to commit any crime where you can be liable when the next government comes to power. This government has decided it will remain in power forever and it will brutalize this country to make sure that those who have committed the crimes will be able to escape to other countries or escape justice altogether, due to the passage of time. What is important now is to unite against this government and throw them out. There is no middle path of compromise, negotiation, or constructive engagement. Thank you very much.